What's up, my man?
Boys, we're doing.
Peter?
Damn.
Joshua.
All right. You guys ready for this? I'm chomping at the bit. I'm ready to dive in. You ready to follow my lead here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Expose how much we don't know.
Totally. But that's the fun. So NFTs, guys. NFTs, non-fragrant toenails, nautical, furious tigers. I don't know what it stands for yet. We'll get to that. But I know it's
Tammy. Tammy can't have one. Not for Tammy.
Not for Tammy.
Not for Tanny. Okay, so here's the basic premise of this call. We're recording it. I want to have a conversation and really bring to our community the thought process of creating an NFT from the ground up. And I want to get the ball rolling by just telling my little NFT story, and then I want to kick it over to Pete, who is the resident NFT crackhead, who's sending me like the weirdest stuff 24/7. He knows everything that's going on. So I'm going to start the ball rolling with my little like cutesy introduction story, is that I was watching this whole NFT space for months and months, didn't really get it, had a lot of opinions, thought it was ridiculous. Coming from kind of an artistic background, it just drives me crazy to see these 8-bit drawings all of a sudden be elevated to the realm of high art. And so I've just had this kind of feeling in the back of my mind, like, yeah, this technology will eventually get somewhere. It'll actually be meaningful in an artistic way. And then because Pete's over here, like bombarding us constantly with like all of these releases and different projects, he got kind of close with the guys behind Crypto Rastas and was in on some of the Discord chats. He invited me into a few calls, and I kind of saw like, whoa, this is actually a community that's like coming together around a shared passion. This is a way that they're like expressing in the world their values, and they're creating this like very CryptoPunks inspired NFT. And so then Pete starts sending me links of guys. He's like, oh, this one's like really rare. He's really cheap. You got to scoop him up. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I start looking at him. He's like, no, this one's really rare. You got to get it now. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm going to get an NFT. He'll leave me alone. I go to buy the damn thing. It's like $134 in ETH. The gas fees are $170. And I'm just like, exactly, this is total crap. And so I'm like, I'll wait. I'll let the gas fees cool off. I come back 15 minutes later and the dude is sold. And I'm like, oh man, I lost my guy. I kind of got a little bit attached to him. Like his features were kind of cool. I kind of like started taking mental ownership of this, very primitive kind of drawing. And then the next one that came up, now I'm hunting. I'm like, okay, I got to find one. I need to find a white dude who like, hopefully is smoking a joint or doing something cool. And I found another one. And this time it was even more expensive. The gas fees were even more expensive. I was like, screw it. I got to get this guy. Like, I'm not going to let this one slip away. And before I knew it, I was like very emotionally connected to this experience. I was like watching my wallet for the next, 24 hours, waiting for this little Crypto Rasta dude to pop in there. And I'm like, all right, I finally get it. I understand the psychology of being, it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't, like there's a lot about the artistic side that is not the crucial element. It's just this experience of collecting a truly rare thing, and you want to get it before someone else gets it. And it kind of opened my eyes to a couple things. Like I've said, the community aspect is huge. Crypto Rastas, it's all tied to a community, and we have a community. We've got the garden. So, right off the bat, crypto gardeners, there's a lot that we can do just kind of copying the template that a lot of other communities have done. And the second part is I'm letting go of the notion that these have to be like true artistic expressions, because I think the artistic expression might actually be the performance of releasing a cool concept into the world. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, we got to do one of these. We got to point this in a positive place that, we could be raising money for charity. We could be giving our community members, extra goodies for being part of the community. Like, there's a lot of different ways that this can have impact for our community. But I wanted to start this call to just get the ball rolling and kind of document the process from not knowing what NFT stands for to actually hopefully launching something that is meaningful and benefits the world. What do you guys think?
And go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm always probably coming at it from a, I don't know, skeptic might be the word, but I'm always like, hey, what's really going on here? Is it a bubble? All those things, which I don't think matters. I'm not suggesting it's a right or wrong thing, but I do think the way our opportunity is to do this in a way that maybe if we could figure out how to highlight the technology and actual use and actual value behind this space and not just the FOMO frenzy, right? Even though maybe that is part of the value. That is the trick, right? To use the garden NFT project to like educate our garden around, hey, this is what this space represents. It's more than just digitized baseball cards, right? There's something here. The technology is meaningful long term, and so if we can tie that to this fun experience, because it does need to be fun. Like you said, that idea of I got something, like I wanted that Rasta NFT and I got it and I'm proud of it and it's mine, and there's a connection there. So yeah, I don't want to discount all that stuff, which I'm likely prone to do, and just say, this is a bubble, whatever. Let's embrace some of the fun. But I do think I want to do it in a way that is responsible to ourselves and our community, so that it becomes something they learn from, and that isn't just, hey, we created this NFT and a bunch of people experienced it and then we're on to the next thing. I want it to be meaningful. That's my take, Pete.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's super exciting. I think for me, the paradigm shift is when I realized that the art was the receipt to the contract. Like the art, that doesn't even matter. That's just like this cool like badge you get on your Boy Scout shirt, It doesn't have any utility. But then you bring in the smart contract in where you're in this club. So the Mike Tyson one, right? The Mike Tyson NFT, you get to go box with Mike Tyson. Like one of the NFTs has the golden ticket in it and you get to go train with Mike Tyson. I mean, so you can hide all these cool, really dynamic rewards or charities or whatever and put it on the blockchain forever. And so every time that NFT sells forever, some money goes somewhere, and you can allocate that. You can change the allocations, I think. I'm excited to see what the guys that really know the yes and no, like we can ask questions, is this possible? And they say yes or no. I'm excited about that thing when you can just like let it flow. And these guys are like, all right, we can maybe do that, or no, we can't do that, that doesn't work. But when you think about how you can set up the back end. So for example, let's say we just brainstorm the crypto gardeners. One thing that's pretty prevalent in this community is entrepreneurship. And so one thing you don't want to do is just be a self-shiller, right? Nobody wants to be like that guy that's like just trying to promote their stuff. But we're all entrepreneurs. We want to be promoting our own stuff, right? And so maybe one of the cool back-end things is where we could implement like a discount program from, like, for example, my hotel. I would give everybody that has a crypto garden NFT a 20% discount on my hotel, right? And so then you just make this networking storm that has nothing to do with crypto that everybody gets to benefit off of, like, and come in here. So for the crypto Rastas, I'm like, dude, come and have a concert at my hotel on the beach. Come on down here. And so I'm literally talking to some of their community members about coming to my small hotel in Ecuador and helping this small community with some economic dollars of tourism. Okay, so then you can take that shop local idea anywhere, like to Fort Collins, right? We're going to Fort Collins, we're going to Old Town, and we have an Old Town NFT or whatever NFT community we're trying to start, or whatever, small business kind of pumper. We can design this to be a feed loop back to fiat that doesn't necessarily even have to have anything to do with crypto, as we're waiting for this adoption cycle to happen. So I think that the more we can just, grandma can buy this NFT, the more successful we can be. And I think if we have a user experience that's really friendly and really, where we say we're going to launch on this date and we try to launch on that date really hard. For example, right now I'm on a pre-sale list right now for, it's called Rogue Society. They got hacked and crashed last Friday and they're supposed to do another launch. And they've been saying since 9 o'clock this morning that I will be eligible to buy a pre-sale mint. And the guy, there's this guy named Late J, he's like the king of the robots, right? He hasn't showed up yet. And so it creates all this like distrust in the system. Like, is this a rug pull? Because they go wrong. Like NFTs can go wrong. You know what I mean? And so Like the devs show up and they just take all the ETH and they go. You know what I mean? And people are still kind of figuring out these big launches and this kind of stuff. And you start throwing in a couple $1 million around, there's some bad actors that slip in there. You know what I mean? So it's really important that whatever you do with the community, you go in the way that you can follow through with what you say. You know, and I think that if we have that as a foundation that, okay, we're going to launch on this date, we launch on that date. You know, and if we don't, we get hacked. You have to be present in the Discord. So the difference between a good one and a bad one is how active the mods are and when things are going bad and answering questions and stuff. So there's right now, literally, there's 20,000 people in this, 20,540 people in this Discord right now. And they're asking questions as fast as they can. Is this thing launching? Is this thing launching? Is this thing launching? They're just panicking. And so they're doing this pre-sale, a 24-hour pre-sale for the early adopters. And then the real mint doesn't happen until Sunday.
So how do you separate that moment from small cap alts and shit coins? Like, how is that different from, we're going to pump these coins and the people that aren't smart are going to buy them later and we're going to get out, right? And so the reason I'm so excited about the pre-sales, I want to get in first. It's going to go up. I'm going to sell it and dump it on somebody that doesn't know. Yeah.
Well,
so that's
here's the thing. Here's the thing is there's the fix and flippers and then there's the long-term community members. You know what I mean? So like, there's the ones that are just like, you can tell it just feels fake. Like you're talking to the Discord guys and they're kind of giving you these bullshit answers, you know, but when you're talking to the crypto Rastas, the guys are like text messaging you back like, hey, what's up? How's it going? They're like super interactive. And so
can we solve that with the smart contract? If
I think you just have a long-term roadmap, right? It's a really long-term thing where year 1, year 2, where we had the kind of the seed idea and you're pouring water on it with new NFTs that come along. That keeps the community interactive and it keeps the charity pools it keeps you present, you know?
So if I may, I would love to take a couple steps back in the, no, it's really good.
So excited.
Sure, but I just wanted to highlight a couple things that are relevant to me because I agree with you, Josh, that I looked at this space as just pure speculation, like a huge waste of money. It's insane how much ETH people are throwing at some of these projects that in some cases it's like the ultimate the car loses half its value as soon as it rolls off the lot kind of effect. Yep. There's one NFT in particular that I just want to bring it up. I want to show you guys this. It's insane. If I go to and you know, it's a cool project, I'm sure, but nouns.wtf. So these guys have this system that every day they're putting up a new little dude. Yes. And people are bidding on it. And so because there's only one of them a day and it's like the focus of this global auction, if you go back in time here, this is now the 28th day, the one yesterday sold for 245 ETH. Yeah. That's like $400,000 or something.
Let me jump in.
235 ETH. But hold on, I just want to point out that like this to me is the penultimate, like you're never going to have this effect again. You know, once you've paid some of these, like if you go back far enough, like I've seen ones that were like 400 ETH, you know, but outside of that one day of hype around that property, you know, how are you ever going to generate that kind of interest or bidding or demand? So anyway, I just want to show this as like, in my mind, this is like here, 613 ETH. But I mean, okay, so here's what this ties into for me though, is I spent a long time helping nonprofits raise money. And how do they do that? Well, they can partner with organizations who can offer gift cards. They can have bake sales and galas and all of these things where they're trying to create value for their donors. And then the donors are paying money to, you know, exchange dollars for an experience or feeling like you're contributing to their mission. There's a whole art and science to fundraising for nonprofits. And so what strikes me is that whatever the formula is here that would get someone to pay 613 ETH for a, you know, 32 by 32 pixel drawing, you know, there's some mechanism at play here that, yes, it's speculative. Yes, it is a bubble, like all of these things. But if we can actually create a project that is generating real world dollars and pointing that towards something that as a community we believe in, it's like the ultimate fundraiser. And there's still enough left over that we could fund the garden, we could tackle bigger projects, we could, we could grow with those funds as well. But if we can find a system where people are genuinely excited to hold these things, and I'm not saying that we should just do an auction and, sell these things for thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the other piece that Pete was bringing up is that in some of these communities, having your NFT is like your ID card at the door. So we could actually program our Discord so that you have to have a registered NFT to get into the garden. And then once you're in, and like as your NFT evolves and changes its attributes, it could actually unlock different parts of the community. Like it's sort of a way that we can do what we're already doing. We can tie it up with some of these concepts that do create that FOMO. We can point some of that energy at good causes. And as a community, we can just decide like, what are the outcomes that we want this to drive? And then we can design this thing backwards from those outcomes. And so that's where I kind of got excited by it, because just throwing tons of money at a baseball card is kind of ridiculous. But if we actually, as a community, have, a needle that we're trying to move in the world, and this is a mechanism for us to do it, then it's hard for me to find an issue with that, even if people are FOMOing in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think this idea of the seed that Pete was talking about. So if we had a seed NFT, but like my thought would be, why doesn't everybody just get a seed when they join the garden? Like they get an NFT that's a seed, but the smart contract just doubling down on the garden metaphor, like we talked about, is watering the seed over time. And is there a way to for that smart contract to evolve or grow, or the capabilities of that seed to change over time? I just don't know. You guys would know that. And then are these two different conversations? Because over time, is that something they could sell and that's how we can get money into charity or the garden or whatever? Or is that one way to use an NFT? And then another way is to have our platform in the garden where we are launching NFTs that tie back to these causes we're interested in?
I guess it's up to us. My initial thought is that, again, if we focus on what we're trying to drive, we can design the NFT around that. So if what we're really trying to figure out is like a membership model or like a perk for membership that kind of gains value over time, that might be different from doing like a week-long auction-based fundraiser for an Ecuadorian, jungle preservation. But I think one of the things that I'm coming to realize is that these things can be highly dynamic. And Pete has some really good examples of how like you can give everyone a seed, but then that's not really valuable until you do some other activity that gets you the NFT that is the water, that then turns it into something new that's actually valuable. And then maybe you have to do something else to like, collect a set. One of the NFTs that was like really crudely done, but interesting, was someone had these rockets where you had to buy a nose cone, a body, and the fins to like have a complete rocket. So, it's almost like I don't know, you can build these sets in cyberspace and have people actually do specific actions to get that next piece. And so, I don't know, there's something there that's like when you're a gardener, you get your seed, but then if you want to water it, you got to donate to one of these 20 charities. And like, the more you donate, the more you get water. And then that turns into something, I don't know. We don't want to overcomplicate it, but there's like cool opportunities to like tell a story with these things.
Yeah. Two things. One is that the people that are paying 613 ETH for something, they probably have a couple thousand ETH and they're not thinking in dollars anymore. They're thinking in ETH. Mm-hmm. So 613 ETH isn't expensive to them when they have 10,000 or 20,000 ETH, right? They've already made that paradigm shift out of this and they believe that the future is in cryptos. That's how they're throwing that kind of weight around. That was a big paradigm shift for me, is get out of dollars when you're thinking about this. Okay, another thing is that we can define what the water is, right? Maybe what is water really? Water is education. Water is economic, a chance to move up economically, right? And so we set these up where the water is staking pools. We don't spend our capital, we leverage it. So we set these seeds, these waters, the seeds go into a staking pool and we water this. And so you can be a water plant, or you can just drip into it depending on your economic standpoint. And then you can leverage these out of these staking pools. I'm not smart enough to know how that works, but we shouldn't spend what we're collecting. We should have some kind of DAO set up where we get to redistribute that wealth in different leverage vehicles that we can leverage out. Say we have 100 grand in Bitcoin, whatever. We can leverage out 50 grand of that Bitcoin to this charity for 24 months, and then it comes back or whatever. You know what I mean? So where we're not spending our capital, we're actually building wealth, right? Which is one of the paradigm shifts of being able to save money, right? And do this kind of thing. And so that closes another loop as well. When you're thinking about the water can be different things. It can be giving your time to teach a class on what you're good at, right? Everybody has something that they're really good at. So that's your water. So if you come up with X amount of content, like I can teach somebody how to paraglide, right? And that can be my water. I can put out 2 or 3 hours of videos or whatever the criteria that we set up was, that this is our water that qualifies us for that NFT, then because that's going to have value, right? And so we can pay people water tokens or whatever on how much interaction their content is, right? And so we can just generate a bigger library of knowledge by harvesting the talent of our gardeners by paying them in water tokens or water whatever in this end. I'm not smart enough to figure this out, but those are the kind of ideas that you can define what water is. If we start with the seed concept, and so you put enough water into it and a sprout, you go to a sprout, and then the sprout, you know, in 10 years from now, there's a couple of trees in our group, right? Guys that threw the $1,000 in the staking pool and never took it out. Out of a philanthropy, or how do you say that word? Philanthropy side of things too. You know, if we're pointing if people trust us that we're pointing our philanthropy power in the right directions and we're following through and executing with 99% of the money that we're supposed to be in there, versus American Red Cross expects to lose 95% when they're helping people to corruption. You know, it's not like we can point this at different directions and build credibility through time that would encourage people to leave their water tokens or water NFTs, whatever that is, into the pool. And let us keep going with it, right?
So let me bring up where my thoughts have kind of been, and then maybe we can talk about how they might evolve with some of these other concepts. So again, this was my first NFT, and I got attached to my little dude, and now I kind of feel this, like, I don't know, it is a collectible. It's something I'm proud of. It was a low enough cost in ETH where, like, I'm not super concerned with whether the price goes up or down. Like, I can afford to lose $300 to, you know, have a cool little piece of this community. And, you know, the basic idea that has just been kicking around in my head was we go on OpenSea. Where are the ones that are already minted? Do you know how to get there?
OpenSea, yep.
Yeah.
You can see their names. That's pretty cool. You notice that Rasta has a name and it says what he does or she does.
So the base level of this idea so far for me was that we find an artist, we kind of you know, copy the prototype that's now been done a couple of times with CryptoPunks and others, and we just kind of generate these permutations of garden attributes. So I even thought it'd be kind of cool to have a little bit zoomed out, so it's not just like the bust of someone, it's maybe like a body, so you could see like, oh, here I got the dude with the bike, I got the dude with the yoga mat, I got the dude with the skis or whatever. But we just have this kind of like rotating collection of attributes that are all grounded in, like, you know, health and wellness and gardening and yada yada. And we have different, you know, ages, races, genders, so you can kind of find one that matches your, you know, personality. But we create, I mean, most of these, it's like 10,000. I don't know what kind of the cap is, but
Okay.
well, no, I think they do have a limited number in how many they actually create. Like most of the ones I've seen, it's like, oh, there's 777 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's
like,
up to the creator.
so the base idea was, you know, we just create these crypto gardeners. We give them to our gardeners first as a, you know, you're a member, so you get a gardener. You don't have to pay for it, or maybe you have to mint it. You have to pay the gas fees or whatever to mint the thing, but you're not paying on top of that. And then through these videos, we're actually working through this, you know, challenge of setting this all up. That will actually serve as some promotion if we're putting this on YouTube and people are kind of following along the story. And so then we have a public release. We'll also have people, you know, hopefully signing up for the garden because they see how cool we are and the cool stuff we do. So we get more people in the garden. And then when we release this to the bigger population, then it kind of turns into this type of an event where what was previously free to garden members, now people are coming in, they're scooping up their limited number. Maybe we only do, I don't know, 420 of these or 4,200 or whatever. But then we create this like piece of memorabilia for the garden, and we allocate some percentage of sales to charities or allow people to choose their charity. But like, to me, that was the absolute like basic NFT that we could do. And so I just wanted to kind of share that because, additional ideas of like having a seed, adding water tokens, staking pools, like that's more complex. It would take more just research and a bigger team probably to put it together. So I just wanted to kind of share that. That was like the seed of the idea. And is there a way we can kind of, evolve on top of that? Or do we want to go back to the whiteboard with like a really, specific model that is more complex?
I mean, the water on, if we start with the seed idea, just of like your original NFT of the crypto gardener, that's considered your seed, right? Whatever that is. And then the water can be a list of 20 charities that as a group we decide to, that you donate X amount of dollars to, and that's your water. Boom. So right away, that's an easy way that doesn't have to be that complicated. You're just verifying that deposit with a MetaMask. You can do it in Discord too. You can see.
So what's cool about that, Pete, is that with a seed, it's like a capsule, right? Like you're putting a quarter in the thing, you're turning it, and you get a mystery capsule, right? And so those can be given away, but the ones that have already been watered, then people can sell those because they're more valuable. They've already got the water, and people can say, oh, you know what? I really wanted the girl on the bike with the yoga mat, and here it is. And it's going to cost more than it was as a seed because that was like the mystery. So you kind of already get like some exchanging happening.
What's the beard have to say about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I think we're at this spot where we can make this really complex, or we can probably make it a little simpler. The one thing that I keep thinking about is, if we do the seed thing, can we make it consensus that waters the seed, not money? And just thinking about community, like consensus could be meaning like if I contribute to the garden as a member and there's some kind of way for people to verify that, and that is what grows my seed. And that contribution is different because we have different skills and different abilities, right? Somebody might not be comfortable on video, right? But they might have a gift for writing or programming, right? And so that could still be a way to contribute. And so if you kind of democratize contribution, but pull people in the community, and now this is probably more complex. That's why I'm like, yeah, maybe that's a longer term idea, but I do like the thought of the community watering the seeds, right?
Maybe we could simplify it by saying, all you need is one seed plus one water token and it will grow. So it's not like a over time payout. It's like we can just set these thresholds for, maybe it's participation. Maybe it's like we can find a way to have our Discord know when user X, Y, and Z tied to this NFT has, attended, 3 classes in a row or something, or like, there's some participation in the garden, and then you get your water token, and that's all you need. Now you got your little guy. Or, we could, because we do have a small enough community, and it would probably be fun as a moderator group that like, we could probably just send these to a wallet, like Cello can be like, oh man, that was awesome. Thanks for like, participating today. Here's your water token.
Yep. You just paste your ETH address right into Discord. Discord has all these cool gate bots where you have to have this, and then you have like, okay, in an hour, we're going to be in this room, be there and check this box to get into the next VIP room. So you can tell who's like participating, and they can make all these cool gates that are completely automated through the bots in Discord. It makes it kind of fun, like a scavenger hunt to a certain extent, until it gets annoying.
Yeah, I don't care about that because I don't like Discord, but I'm not going to say that out loud on video. But community on Discord, I love. And so, like this, what I like about this, the last thing I want to say is we're tying it to our values, right? If growing humanity and grow is a big part of what we're doing with Garden, I just like the idea of the progression of the NFT being tied to growth, whatever that looks like for our community members. But that is what we're about, right? We're about growth. And so that to me solves the bubble money, FOMO side of NFTs that I think, like, I wouldn't want to promote values in the Garden that are contradictory to what we're trying to solve, right? Like, we're not trying to create FOMO and have people waste
Mm-hmm.
money on things that aren't long-term valuable. But if we can tie it to growth, that to me fixes that. And that might just be something I'm seeing that's not there. But yeah.
No, I love it. I think the objective here, again, focusing on outcomes, is we want to have it an exciting thing to work on and talk about. You know, this is a content creator. We can work through these problems, and other people that might have a nonprofit or want to step into the space and use this as a bake sale, right? Like, they can learn from that. We can give back to our members and give them something that, even if the goal is not that they turn around and sell it for 100 ETH, they have something that forever memorializes this window in time that they were here with us in the Garden. You know, if they water that seed, it turns into something cool that they appreciate and take with them. It is like that patch on their shirt. And then even if it's small, even if it's just a token gesture, quite literally, that someone actually does something because of these that they haven't done before, they've wanted to do, or they contribute to the world, then collectively, when we look at the set, you know, and we realize that every single one of these that was watered and became a thing is something actual in the world, then we're furthering our mission in a way that we probably couldn't have without the smart contract that lets us incentivize and account for that growth. So, you know, one thing I'm just going to speak, you know, kind of openly, or, you know, honestly at this point, is that because there is so much perceived ability to just generate value out of nothing here, you know, like, that's, I think, why most people buy NFTs, is because they want to buy it for, you know, 0.02 ETH on day one and sell it for 3 ETH on day 3. Like, I don't know if that model is what's so ingrained that will really be like grappling with a like disincentive if people are, I don't know, like, is it for our community, or is it actually something that we want the larger world to have like a desire for these things? That's a big question. Because if it's only in our community, then you don't really sell them ever, right? You have your little guy, that's your collectible. And that's a different formula from like a crypto Rastas, where, you know, the early dudes in that community got the early ones. They're going to keep, you know, blowing it up on social media. And then hopefully they're going to, you know, collectively as a community make some money that they can then turn into shows and records and whatever else. But I don't know, there's kind of a fork in the road that I think we have to pick a path and go down it. But I like the, you know, this doesn't have to be the only project we do too. So if we really just focus on this, like, when you join the Garden, you get this NFT and we just build it out and make it cool, make it your little ID card, then that will teach us a lot. And if we decide, you know, down the road, we want to raise $1 million for a really cool project, we could approach it with that kind of fundraising lens.
It could be like the portal too, where this is the, you know, this is as simple as this NFT ever gets, and it just grows over time. You know, just keep building on it. NFTs don't have to end. The Bored Apes Club, Bored Apes Yacht Club, that doesn't end. You're in that club until you have that NFT, right? And it just keeps, they keep doing cooler and cooler stuff on the back end web design. They keep adding new benefits. So, you know, let's say it's, just throw a number out of there, $100 in ETH or whatever. You go to 2 reggae concerts for $100 and they got your reggae Rasta or your crypto Rasta got you in on that. Boom, done. Who cares? I'm never selling that thing. Maybe I get another invite to another concert somewhere again, or I get some other perk at some small business that's not there yet that I'm just waiting. Like, oh, dude, Nike's coming on, or whoever else is coming on. They're going after this new guy or whatever else, that my little NFT token is going to give me a discount at that spot, you know, so it can continually grow over time. And as we get better and better at it, we get cooler and cooler projects that want to work together, you know?
This is cool. Yeah, you showed me the Bored Apes, and it was really interesting because everyone initially bought an NFT that was like a cool little drawing, and then later on they released like, what was it, a banana or something, or
Yeah,
like
or like
it mute
a potion or something that made
a
him into the.
potion, yeah, and then that like actually mutated your ape, so you still had your original one, but now you had this second one, and those were even more valuable. And it's kind of cool. I mean, here they've got their roadmap activations. you know, I guess this is when they sell the percentage of the collection.
Yeah, the
At
mint.
10%, they pay back their moms. 20%, they release the caged apes. Like, I don't know, like it is kind of cool that you can think about it not as a single offering, but as a roadmap. And you can put stuff at the end that's like way more complex because you're going to have to work towards it. There's going to be more funds available to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So like when we get, 10,000 gallons of water in the bucket, that smart contract that pops something into a charity or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe your little gardener guy, like you get that, and then we put water in the bucket, and then maybe we release like land, and you can actually like get a plot of land, and you can start growing stuff, and it's almost like, you can create this set where over time, who knows, maybe having a gardener on a land with a barn and a forest, like that's 3 years worth of activity and contribution, but then you've got like this kind of cool little collection that, who knows, maybe the garden will be a big deal, and someday the original NFTs will be like really valuable to people. They wouldn't sell them for a car.
Or it just keeps having utility. We just don't stop the utility part of it. We just keep adding. We have a yearly project.
Hmm.
That coordinates back to that original NFT, or those original NFT holders get first dibs. It's like a first right of refusal. We're dropping on them. So for example, like for the one I'm in right now, in 6 months, they're going to drop another free NFT for all the original people. Right. So it's cool. And it's economics too. So you can mess with the demand. So let's say we try to do 10,000, we only come up and we only hit 5,000. You just get rid of 4,000 of them. Boom. Now there's 6,000. Supply just went down. You just mess with the economics of it. Right. So you can play with those numbers a lot. It's a super dynamic system. And then I don't know, I haven't deep dived into this, but so I just crossed a headline that you can stake NFTs. So
Because it's just ETH, right?
yeah, and then they're also
It's
like
just
up and they're buying fractional parts of CryptoPunks. So you could buy like 0.02% of this one CryptoPunk. So they're trying to tokenize the ownership of NFTs within a big NFT. So it can get pretty intense quick. But I don't think we have to. I think we can grow it as far as like start with the seed with what we know now. We want to launch an NFT, and then this NFT just keeps evolving. We just keep working. Like you had that interview with the guy at Weld, right? Or at Meld. So then all of a sudden we start talking about our NFT project and how he can help us with that. And all of a sudden, it just starts snowballing into cooler stuff where we didn't even know about. You know what I mean? Like,
it's cool too to think that if we have these kind of available, you can give them to people, right? Like we interview the CEO of Meld, we give him a seed, be like, hey man, thanks for the interview. Here's a seed. Oh, what do I do with this? Oh, you gotta put some water on it. Come give a talk or something. And then I don't know, you can kind of invite people into the garden by giving them these little goodies that they then have to take care of.
That's interesting to me. What's that?
So weird. We designed a willy woo crypto.
That's interesting to me because now maybe this is too complex, but can you remove the economic layer of the NFT for a moment, and the garden growing as a community provides the economics to then support the causes we want to support, but it's driven by the game theory. It's not about FOMOing into these things to keep people looking at a screen or whatever we're trying to do. It's about FOMOing into contributing to community. Like, I don't know, maybe that's too big of a problem to try to solve, but that to me is interesting. Like, that's worth exploring with NFTs. Like, because right now we're talking within these rules that we know. We have all these examples, and they're all geared the same way, right? They sell the NFT gets more valuable, you resell it. But I think you're onto something. Like, can we trick that a little bit and like give away a seed, but then you come and do a talk, and then you enjoy that talk and you enjoy being a part of our community. And so you're drawn into the community, and then the community becomes the flywheel that both makes the NFTs more valuable and also generates more NFTs and participation. So that's probably.
And you know what would be, yeah, Josh, think about it. We could remove the whole payment gateway layer of joining the garden. And when you come to the garden, you can just like turn the crank, get your seed. That gets you into Discord. You have to read the things when you like, we can design that process around, because the value to the garden, we want to be able to sustain it. We want to be able to actually pay our moderators and teachers so that it's someplace that they want to put their time. But we could build those economics into this. It's almost like a governance token, but it's an NFT, right? And it changes and it's artful and it encourages you. You know, if we could be making people show up for more of these yoga classes because it's going to water their seed faster, I guarantee you more people be showing up on their yoga mats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also think we don't have to be on ETH either. You know what I mean? We can come up with
That's true.
Sol and ADA come up with these gas fees. Dude, if you got to pay twice as much for the gas as you do for the actual NFT.
Yeah, man.
So I have no problems leaving those guys as soon as there's a better option. I hate them.
I mean, when we talked to Meld, they were building a whole consumer app space on Cardano, and Cardano hasn't even released smart contracts yet. So we could be looking at these other platforms. I agree. Like, I think the value of getting onto one of these new networks is worth the time to wait to like figure this out, do it right, release something next spring even, but really have something that is
Sol and ADA are doing it right now. And then WeU is doing multi-chain that they'll accept any NFT, right? Their platform is let buy an NFT. So they're doing any wallet plugs in, buy any NFT on anything. So
here's my next question, because I think we've definitely kind of seen some glimpses of the vision. We've set some intention. What do we need to do next? Like, who do we need to connect with? What, you know, I'm assuming Josh is going to go into flowchart mode and really kind of thinking again, you know, we have all these ideas, but where does this become tangible and become explainable and actionable? So I'm sure we can do a little bit more like actual refinement of the user experience. But then like, if we do another call, maybe we do this once a week and we just kind of keep this project moving. You know, who do we want to bring in? Do we want to interview the guy from Crypto Rastas to talk about the art? Like, you know, we can start sort of making this a ongoing vacuum for this talent. And then maybe we can put together a really cool team that has, you know, maybe the dude who did what is this one? The Bored Apes, you know, maybe there's a guy there who would really resonate with what we're doing and he set this up. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think as far as next things to do?
I think we look for guides, man. I think we go out there and look for somebody that's generous with their time and their knowledge and wants to kind of not team up with us, but try to point us in the right directions. I think we save a little bit of time. You know, remember we were launching the garden and we were kind of just like, hey, we don't know what we're doing. Can we have some teachers come and help us maybe? I mean, maybe we fly that same flag and just be like, hey guys, we're looking for some help. If anybody's interested or has been down this path that wants to go down it again, or you know what I mean? So if there's anything about crypto that is generous.
Maybe we just look right into the camera and say, if you are a rock star developer who loves NFTs and likes what we're talking about, come to Pete's house, knock on his door, crawl into bed with him. Now there's got to be a better way to connect with us. We'll put that in the description. But yeah, it's a community effort.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the garden is, right? Collecting a bunch of people that are smarter than me. It's not that hard to do. There's a bunch of them out there.
Cool.
So collecting a bunch of people. Yeah, I agree.
All right, y'all. Well, that was the most exciting thing I've talked about on a Friday in a long time. And we'll let Josh get back out to the woods. We'll let Pete get back to whatever pirates do. And I'm going to go back to, getting ready for the weekend. Cool, guys. All right, let that stew. We'll get back together next week and see what we make of it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, cheers.
See you.